Alright guys, coming at you with the rest of the demo on the can. We're going to do the bottom now on the can koozie. And at this point you're ready to untie from the top, so you can go ahead and let that loose. And it's not going anywhere. Now I'm going to leave that on there just to keep it out of my way. Now for this you want to get pretty flush with the bottom, just a little bit out past it. Okay? And you're going to start a series of half hitching all the way around. Now you could start with the first yellow one because we're going to use the yellow ones first, but I'm going to come underneath my starting line just to give it some anchor so it doesn't pull up and deform the bottom row. So I'm going to go through there with my needle, with my fid, and then just out above. And that's all we're going to do all the way around. Just a series of half hitching. And this is the part that can be pretty tricky, guys. This is probably, for me anyways, was the toughest part of figuring out these pouches. Now, when you've got it there, you're just going to want to pull it snug, not super tight. You can see how it wants to pull everything. And I'm actually going to move this up just a touch for now, just to keep it where I want it. And then we'll go ahead and start going through the yellow ones. So now you're going to go through the first loop that you made with your weave. And same thing, just half hitch. Just pull it all through, coming out of the top. Go down through it, that is, and then pull it all through out the top. Alright. Little twist. Pull that out. And again, this is the tricky part. You don't want to go too tight. You want to try to keep these lined up, basically. They're going to pull to the right a little bit each time, but if you adjust for that, it'll keep things closer. And if you don't care about having big holes in the bottom, you can kind of fly through this part. And if you're going to use it as a koozie, that doesn't really matter. I prefer using them as pouches. So I like to have a nice tight bottom that has everything taken care of in it. I keep the fid in my hands, you guys, when I'm pulling everything, and I throw the cordage out to the sides. And that's how I do it anyway. Alright. Just on to the next one, all the way around. And I always just kind of hold the previous one that I did. And as this pulls the blue lines down further, I'm going to want to keep pushing my can back. I want those lines to pretty much be flush, like I said, just sticking out just enough for me to get my weave through. But you don't want them pulling your blue lines over necessarily. And it's fine, it works out fine, it just stands up better and everything if you do it this way. Keep aligning it, keep adjusting it. Okay. Same thing, just all the way around, lining them up. Not too tight, not too loose. Just try to find a nice happy medium. And this is nice out here on the back deck. It's a nice evening. It's not too humid. But this is something you can sit and do while you're watching TV, or if you're laying in bed at night, and you can throw the cord all over and have somewhere anyway where you can lay everything out flat. That's what I'm getting at. Just adjusting the koozie again, because you're always pulling on it in different directions. And you can see how that bottom's starting to form now. It's just one of those things you can't rush through, these pouches. It's just something that you have to take your time with and kind of look at each piece as you do it, and you'll get better and better. My first few, I just loved them, and I mean, I still love them, but you know, the improvement comes with practice on this one, like so many things. And again, it's not a matter of difficulty with the knotting or anything. It's a matter of cord management difficulty. Learning how to keep all that cord from getting knotted, learning how to keep all the cord from twisting, and learning how to lay it all down as you pull it all through. And getting a nice consistent half hitched around the outside. And after the first few, you don't really have to hold them anymore as you do the next one. They just kind of pull themselves where you want them once you get them lined up. And if I see a twist to form, I start pulling it. If you guys have noticed some of the twists pulling themselves out, that's just seeing which way it's twisting and pulling that way as you do your work. And I usually use more than I'm going to need, because running out is far worse than having a nice piece to cut off at the end. And you do want to try to not use too much either, because cord management is such a headache. But if you don't have enough, and you know you're stuck putting two more pieces together where you might not have wanted to. So it's just better to have more than enough, guys. And my point being, I think I have way too much right now. I could probably cut that in half and not have to pull so much through, but alright. I'm going to keep that. Seems like every time you push one, almost you have to align it, or it's going to get out of whack. Alright. Now at this point, we're coming back around to where we started, and we're just going to continue to half hitch around, and it'll start to form a spiral moving in towards the middle. And just great paracord here from the Paracord store. Real impressed with their quality. It's not tangling at all. It's not twisting at all. I mean, you guys are watching it on camera here. If you've done big projects like this, you've probably seen how bad they can twist. Alright, now at this point you just want to continue to make a pattern and do the half hitches off the end of every other last half hitch, or that didn't make much sense, but in other words, the next one in line. So I've just gone here, I'm going to go right here next to it. And you'll see that now they're going to be starting to be closer. And that's going to start to form the pattern that you're going to have on the bottom, and it's going to start to tighten things up. So I'm not going to go right next to where I just went. I'm going to go to the next previous half hitch right here. And for now, the half hitches are going to be most of the bottom. And you're just going to continue to go to the previous or the next one in line every time. And I'll have to cut this video off, and I guess that's going to be like a part 5. I can't even remember now. Alright, so not right here next to it, but the next one that was done on the previous row. Just keep going in a line, in other words. Alright, now you can see what the second row is starting to look like there. And you can see how it starts to tighten them. And what you want to do is just make sure that each one of these holes is about the same as you go around. So it's a matter of consistency and your planning. And it can look real sloppy or it can look pretty consistent. And either way will work if you're just worried about function, but most people that are willing to invest this much time in a project are not just worried about function. So keep pushing it down. This will make your bottom nice and flat, because you will get distorted if you don't. And then just keep working around. See how all those holes are about the same size? Alright guys, I'm going to have to cut this one off. Keep spiraling around, and I will meet you in the middle. Thanks for watching, everybody.